Moscow, April 1958. A musical competition was held against the backdrop of a world beset by suspicion and fear. Nuclear annihilation was a constant threat. The United States and the Soviet Union were bitter enemies in a Cold War. Then, suddenly, from out of the American West, came a long, tall Texan who struck a chord for harmony and friendship.
The Soviets at that time had just excelled in space and at the Olympics with gold medals, and they said, we can even do it in the arts too.
That such a competition would be won by an American, and that's what happened. Van went there. He won over the Russian public, he won over the judges. He played like an angel.
And Madame Frutsova, who was the Minister of Culture and the chairman of the jury, said, well, as the jury member said, there's only one winner in this group. She said, I have to go talk with the president, the premier, and she gets in the black car, and it's late at night, and the flags are moving as she crosses Red Square, and she goes in to tell him that it's not a Russian. And the story goes that he looks at her and he says, so who is it? And it's Mr. Van Cliburn. Is he the best? Yes, he wins.
I interviewed Vera Gornostayeva, who was a revered teacher at the Moscow Conservatory, and I have a picture in my book of her pointing to her heart. And that was in response to my question, what distinguished Van's playing? And that was sort of the response that I got from everyone, that he had so much heart.
There's a wonderful ticker tape parade when he comes back to the United States. And certainly at that time, it was the first for a musician. He addresses the crowd and he says, please don't do this for me. This is not for me. I am only the messenger. That's his humility.
And I remember perfectly well how barely my father and mother squeezed me through the crowd because there were no tickets. And I sat on my father's lap and heard Van play Tchaikovsky's First Piano Concert. Don't ask me how he played, what I did. I just remember the occasion. I remember fascination. I remember teared eyes. I remember I never saw, my mother was an extraordinarily strong person. I never saw her cry. And that's exactly what was happening throughout the whole. Van Cliburn came to Russia and brought them back some fantasy which Russians lost during these so many tragedies which Russians went through, and then brought them back this beauty, this power of Russian music. There was only one, and there is in history only one Van Cliburn.
I mean, now we refer to him as President Bush, but he was George then. I mean, he said, you know, we're opening the ballpark, and I would like to do something special. Do you have any suggestions? And I said, well, I think one of the best things you could do would be to have Van Cliburn play the national anthem. And he said, well, Van's not going to do that. He wouldn't do something like that for, you know, for a baseball game.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to perform our national anthem on opening day at the ballpark in Arlington, please welcome Texas's own Van Cliburn, joined by the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Maestro John Giordano.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. And I mean, all of a sudden he stops and he gets up and he grabs the microphone. Oh, say, you know, there it is. I've never experienced anything like that.